Hey everybody, we are joined here with Aleks Paunovic of the new movie Zero Contact and also of Snowpiercer, among like 100 other titles, shows, movies, everything you can imagine. Aleks, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thanks for having you. Thanks a lot for having me, you guys.
Yeah, no problem. So, just kind of getting started here, like, kind of doing a little bit of research on you. Your IMDb credits are impressive. You are in just a variety of things, and it is like titles that I think anyone would dream of being in any of those. Can you just give us a little backstory how you got into acting?
Oh man, yeah. I started in a metal band. So I was playing in a metal band like junior high into high school. We started touring when we were in the summers of grade 10 and 11. And it was just guys from school, and we just played and then carried on after high school. And then as I was playing, and I didn't really get into acting till later on in my life. Music was the thing, and then music and boxing. I come from 3 generations of boxers in my family. So I tried boxing a little bit later, more in my 20s. I boxed my whole life, sparring and everything, but I just didn't want to get into the competitive nature of it. And it had a lot to do with like me and my dad never really got along. So if I get into boxing means that he's going to have to show up, but he didn't get it. He wasn't crazy about music. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. You're not going to be around. So I'm going to play bass. So it was one of those things, but I love the sport of boxing so much. I just wanted to get my dad and I closer together. So I got into boxing and competed, did quite well. And then my shoulder came out of the socket. And I realized, like, unless you're 100% into something, and I was doing my band stuff, and then I got into acting. In between sets of playing in a band, a casting director asked if I wanted to audition for a film, and I was like, I'm a big yes man. Like, I will say yes to anything, and if I don't like it, then I know for next time that I've already experienced it, I'm not going to do it. So, or I find ways to learn about it. So I said yes. I auditioned for it. I got the gig. And I was like, this is really interesting, and became really great friends with the stunt coordinator on the film. And again, it wasn't a huge part or anything. I just got to see the environment, really enjoyed that. And the stunt coordinator was like, you're 6'5". We don't have anybody in the stunt community in Winnipeg. I grew up in Winnipeg, so it's a small community. And would you want to join the stunt team? So I would then be playing in the band till like 2 a.m. and then running to set when they were doing a night shoot, and just like moving mats and learning and getting coffee for the big stunt guys, and don't talk to the actors. It's like, why can't I talk to the actors? Don't talk to the actors. Like that whole thing, right? I'm like, I kind of want to be one of those guys and talk to everybody. And so I just slowly learned that way. And then I made the move from Winnipeg to Vancouver because I didn't want to just do stunts. I have mad respect for the stunt community and the stunt artists. But for me, I really wanted to tell stories. And I knew that I couldn't stay in the stunt community if I really wanted to tell stories. So I moved to Vancouver on my way to Los Angeles, and that's when 9/11 happened. And so I couldn't make that skip over. So I stayed in Vancouver, and I just kind of like rugged it out. I turned a lot of stunt gigs down because I just didn't want to be known as a stunt person there when I wanted to be an actor. Slept on my buddy's floor for a couple of years, and when I started late, so I'm in my mid-30s. So it was one of those things. It was it was humbling. It was definitely humbling, but I just took a ton of courses in acting. I would go to Los Angeles and New York, and tons of classes in Vancouver, and just started hitting the pavement and slowly kind of developed my career. I didn't really start working till I was in my 40s, close to about my 40s. I really started to kind of pick it up, 42. And then things really started happening, and it all kind of came to where we are right now. So I'm quite fortunate that we've kind of made that ride.
For sure. I love the idea that, like what you said, how you're a yes man and you'll try anything once. And, I think that's like,
well, not anything.
Like within reason. All right. But, I think that's like a really great way to live life. And it's kind of scary at the same time. But
it is.
People pass up so many opportunities because they're afraid of things. And it sounds like you just are kind of like, why not? Let's give it a shot.
That's absolutely it. I would rather learn from something that I tried than guess about something that I didn't try. And that's where ego takes over. Like, I feel like a lot of that stuff is when you don't want to try something, it's more about the ego of not looking like you're good at something. You know what I mean? And boxing has very much taught me that the hard way. It's like when you think you're on a roll and you're got your combinations together, you get a little cocky and then you get the combinations hit on you. But the only way to have a great fight is to be relaxed and just go through what your body mechanics have taught you through training. So for me, boxing has helped me so much. I did my first play a bunch of years ago, and it was a beast of a play. It was called Danny in the Deep Blue Sea. It's like 90 minutes of a two-person play where it's, you know, unbelievably loving and vulnerable and vicious and violent and beautifully written. And I remember being so freaked out because it was my first play, and I just knew that I needed to do a play if I wanted to do this job. I didn't want to just do pops like in film and television. It's like quick little pops. And I remember backstage before the first gig, and I'm so nervous. Like, I feel like I'm going to puke, and I can hear, like, there was 300 people in the auditorium, and it's my first time. And I was like, oh my God, I know this feeling. This is the feeling right before I go out and have a boxing match. So I just started shadow boxing and just reciting my lines, and everything, all the nervousness just dropped because I knew that feeling. Luckily, I had it with boxing and I correlated. So yeah, man, I love saying yes to stuff just to see what life will throw at me.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, like you said, if something doesn't go the way you want it to, or you don't really enjoy something, you can always say, like, that's not for me, but you can't do that if you don't actually take the experience. So
that's exactly it.
So I also wanted to ask you, like, because of all the credits you have, I'm going to assume you've played like a wide variety of types of characters, right? So what are your thoughts about how you approach, playing like such a wide variety of characters? Like, how do you get yourself mentally prepared to go from this extreme to that extreme?
Well, it's easy when you have the script, when you can really dip your toe into like the essence of the script, if it's a horror film or if it's a drama or it's a comedy. So it's always different, and the information you get, the script analysis that you have to do to get from the script will basically feed the character, because we all have different sides of us within. So it always feed that one thing that it speaks to, and obviously guidance from the director and making your own choices. I think that's the biggest thing. Be confident making your own choices when you go for an audition in the room, or when you're doing script analysis and working on a character that you'll be performing. So everything's always different. Just like, I'm sure, you've done a plethora of these conversations, and they're always different in some way, but the core is the same. So to me, as long as I get the information and I'm open to trying things, even if it doesn't work. I mean, one of my favorite stories, and since we're on it, like the first time I worked with Anthony Hopkins was on a film called Black Wave that Rick Dugdale produced. And I'm blown away because I'm in a scene with Hopkins. Like, this is insane to me. And he just kind of went, "Hey, are you okay with just improvising a bunch of stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, I would love to." And so he did it. He did a scene very flamboyantly, and then he did the scene very grounded. He was okay with making mistakes or not looking great, or not looking like what everyone thinks Anthony Hopkins should look like. He was experimenting, and whatever makes it on film is going to be the best thing, because that's what everyone wants for the film, is the best performance. So for somebody like that to just like throw it all into the wind, because when he played it flamboyant, we were all going, I don't think this is right for this movie. Like, I don't think this is right at all. But I love that he didn't care, and he just tried something. And that I got a bunch of learning moments from him during that film. And now to be a part of this whole journey with Zero Contact, it's just ridiculous. On the poster, like I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what metal band were you in?
It was a metal band called Specula Black. and we're releasing a new song. So what's so crazy is that we played for a lot of years, you know, and then I was in a show called Van Helsing for 5 years, a vampire show, and our showrunner John Walker came up to me and he said, you know, for your final scene in this whole show, because we knew we were wrapping up, your final scene, I know you play in a metal band. Do you want us to use one of your songs in your final scene? And I was just like blown away. And we have recorded 30 years ago. So I told one of my boys, Tony, who is a producer now, and I said, do you think we can get Roller Cane in the show? And he goes, let me master it. Let me remix it. So we remixed it from 30 years ago, and crossing our fingers when we sent it into the show, and they said, this sounds great. Yeah, we'll use it. So it inspired us to record a bunch of more songs from the 30 years ago. And so I'm doing a show right now called Gen Zeros that I helped create and executive produced. And so basically 2 days ago, it went online. So a brand new song called Shackle Man is going to be released to all music streams on June 1st, but it got released to the public during the episode a couple days ago. So it's a metal band, and I love it. It's old school metal. Awesome. I'm stoked that we're playing again and recording again. So it's definitely been a blast.
So we do a PVD horror playlist where we ask our guests to give us 2 songs that inspired them or are really meaningful. If you're cool with it, though, I think what we'd prefer would be, can we put 2 of your, if we have access to this song on our playlist for our listeners are able to kind of get all of our guest music tastes, but we'd love to put some of the songs from your band on our playlist then. If that's
I would love to throw it at you, man. I would love to give you those songs for sure. That's exciting.
Cool.
And it's old school metal, you said.
Yeah, old school metal, man. Like just like, you know, Priest, Ozzy type of vibe. Yeah, that kind of thing, man.
Dude, I just went to see Nightwish, and I don't go to concert anymore. I'm married. I have kids, and it's like the first kids are older now. So me and my wife are finally going out, and the band that opened up, I don't even remember their name. And I looked at my wife, and I'm like, this guy is the second coming of like Rob Halford. Yeah.
That's no joke. That's quite a statement, because Halford, like, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, this guy was good. He kind of looked like Halford, and I was like, here we go, like a tribute band. And then they started playing, and he started singing, and I was like, holy shit! Like he did the same thing Halford did, where he's here, and then all of a sudden he's singing, and he's like, Rah! And it just went up, and I was like, what? And everybody in the audience that hadn't heard him, you could tell, because they were like they
yeah.
So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm an old school metalhead, so.
Well, we have a bunch of songs on, like, it's on Spotify. Look up Specula Black. There's like 5 songs there right now, and more songs are coming. But our singer, and you know, you're only as good, I think, as your singer and the style you want to play. And we were very lucky. His nickname's Hammer, Scott Botham. And Ham had that range. So he had the Ozzy range and the Priest range, and we were really lucky because we were able to play a plethora of songs because he was so talented with his vocals. So if you there's one that he does called Roller Cane, which is all metal, which is in the Van Helsing show. You'll hear him scream it up for sure. Okay. But we're really excited about Shackle Man coming out, because that's one of our one of the last songs that we wrote before we disbanded 30 years ago. We're all still great friends. Yeah. And but to be able to bring it all back, man, it's pretty cool. It's so refreshing and fun.
That's great.
That's awesome, man. So here's a really weird question. You did Puppet Killer, and I had heard about it, but I haven't been able to find it. So I actually messaged Puppet Killer on Facebook to get a copy, and I haven't heard a reply yet. Please tell me something about this movie, because there is like no information anywhere.
There's a trailer out there. If you go on YouTube, I think there's a trailer happening out there. But that's weird, because a distribution company picked it up. So I have no idea what's happened, where it is, or what's happened to it. But a distribution company picked it up. But the trailer is online. At least it should be. And dude, it's literally a satire. It's taken the piss out of all the horror films from the 80s. And, you know, you have these actors that are in their 30s playing teenagers. So that's what we did. I'm playing a 17-year-old, and like, dude, and we when we were shooting it, we literally got my classmates around me to be the actual 17-year-olds in school along with me, but it was like no difference. Like they didn't treat me differently at all. It was literally like they looked at me like I was 17, and the other cast was so much older too, like a full-on beard, but we're pretending we're in high school. And then going up to the cabin because, you know, we're going to have one final blowout before we all got to go to college. And it's cool little moments of, you know, tipping our cap to all the amazing horror films that have been out there all through this puppet. And we did it over Christmas a bunch of years ago, and it was so much fun to do. It's really fun to do.
Sounds
awesome.
Great.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's ridiculous.
We'll have to get our hands on that one.
So I just looked it up real quick. It's Beast in Black is the name of the band that was with Nightwish, by the way.
Beast in Black. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. That's a great name.
If you're an old school metalhead, I would definitely recommend it. Now that I looked it up, I'm gonna go buy their albums. Actually, when we're done.
Josh is like doing that while he's doing this this conversation.
I don't buy one bit, man. I don't buy one bit. I don't buy one bit.
We were literally just talking about ADHD before you got on here, so that's so funny.
That's awesome.
Alex, tell me a little bit about kind of like your thoughts on the horror genre. Are you a fan? Do you have any favorite films? Do you hate it? How do you feel?
No, I love the horror genre. I think it's awesome. Like one of like the idea that we did that film just based on like a salute, tip of our cap to all the horror films was just you know, one of those things where, you know, Friday the 13th, epic. And what's hilarious that my stunt double for the last 8 years was the stunt double for Jason. So he would tell me these amazing stories of him being a part of that franchise. And so yeah, like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street is a great one. Like I dig all those. I dig all the prime ones for sure.
Can I ask who your stunt double is?
Glenn Ennis.
Okay, all right, because there'll be people that will be listening that will probably be familiar with that.
Yeah, name, so. Glenn Ennis is that dude. He's in the Canadian Rugby Hall of Fame. And he takes a ton of hits, better looking than me, and leaner than me. So I don't mind when he does my stunts because it looks way better than if I did it. And but he has done a plethora of things, and Glenn Ennis, salute to that guy. Makes me look good.
Isn't he a really big dude?
Yeah, he's 6'5". He's
got to be 6'5" though.
Yeah.
Oh, you're 6'5" too. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't get a 5'3" to do my stunt double.
Yeah.
Didn't even click there for a second. I'm sorry.
It's all good. That was fun. I got to take the piss out of you a little bit.
Yeah, see how you are? Hey, I'm 5'11", so under 6 feet. Everybody over 6 feet is huge.
So,
got it.
Yeah, you were also so. I my son is a huge Marvel fan. Went through everything Marvel on Disney Plus, and you were in Hawkeye. So to earn cred with my son, I'm going to ask you, what was it like to work on Hawkeye?
Well, what's your son's name?
Maxim.
Maxim, you are a bro for Hawkeye. You are a bro. Maxim is tracksuit. Maxim, you are tracksuit mafia now. You come with me. Let's go.
Oh my God.
It was so fun to do, man. To be a part of MCU is just it was just a dream come true. And getting that job and going to shoot in New York and Atlanta for 7 months, and, you know, seeing Jeremy and Haley do their thing and being a part of the franchise has just been amazing. But I mean, Marvel is always in secrecy. So we never had a script. So we would show up with just the lines that we would have to learn, and then give the script back because of all the spoilers or it getting out somehow. So it was interesting to watch the series because I didn't know what I was watching. I was just like another fan because I never read the script. So I didn't know what was going on. They just told us a little bit before and after.
Sure.
Here's what's happening. And so, yeah, I had a blast watching it when it came out on Christmas. And I had a viewing party here, a bunch of people, and it was just super fun. So being a part of that franchise has been pretty special.
Wow.
I bet their non-disclosure agreements are like this thick at Disney.
It's, dude, ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like anybody that asks me now, it's like, so did the Tracksuit Mafia, like, did they die at the end? We're not sure if they went, or are you in the next one? And I just keep on going, I know nothing. Not saying anything.
So there must have been like a pretty like a time crunch to learn your lines and everything, because you can't like study your lines for long periods of time.
Well, and plus there's a lot. I mean, it wasn't like we were rushing to shoot it. Again, it was 6 episodes we shot in over 7 months. So that's like an episode a month. You know what I mean? So they gave us a lot of time to go over it and rehearse it and block it. And again, it's not one of those shows that have massive monologues, especially for the Tracksuit Mafia. So our biggest thing was, you know, Carlos and Piotr, who were my right hand and left hand men. We really improv'd a lot before we would go to set. When we would have it and just, hey, what about this? Let's try this. And Reese and Bert and Bernie, the directors, they were so kind to let us just jam on it. And as long as we're getting the information across, they were happy with it. So we were really lucky that we got to really feed off of each other, because when we got there a month before we started shooting. So we just hung out and got to know each other and just kind of really got each other's energy. And I think it really shows on the screen. So it's great.
That's cool.
That's awesome, man. So you've been in like everything. Even the Zapped remake, I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, he was in that? And I was like, I got to go back and rewatch it. And then I was like, probably not. No offense. The original had a nice spot in my heart.
That is nothing. I
don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit, brother. I don't blame you one bit.
Hey,
listen, listen, man. I may have a ton of credits, but they're not all great. So let's just leave it at that.
I've done a ton of podcasts, not many of them good. So there you go.
I'm with you, man.
So other than Zero Contact, we'll say, what was your favorite thing to work on? Seriously.
My favorite thing to work on, I did a film called, Hawkeye was just super fun. We just went through it. It was just super fun. But a favorite thing that I did a film called Numb, where we shot in the winter, and we literally had to be freezing through that. It was basically a treasure hunt type thing that we were told. You know, it's just 100 feet, this treasure that we found coordinates to just over there, but the weather turns, we don't know where we are, and now we're just trying to survive, 4 of us. And so it was really challenging because, you know, we really wanted the environment to take over. So we were literally putting snow in our shoes so we can actually have teeth chattering scenes. And it was a really difficult movie to shoot, but those are the ones that I really love to be a part of. Like where you kind of give your sweat and tears in it and stuff. And it was really emotional. There's a lot of emotional moments for me that I've never gone to on screen. So that was one of my favorite ones, just because of how much we worked at it and to get it out there. So yeah, that would be one of my ones. And I love Van Helsing. Van Helsing's one of that one was 5 years of my life, which really gave me. That was the first thing that I did that I was really a part of the show, as opposed to being a guest star or you know, a supporting lead. This was me being really a part of the show, and I love that role. I love people coming on to set and welcoming them to our family and giving them as much freedom and being relaxed to do their job. And I just love hosting and the arc that the writers wrote for me in that show, going from vampire to human, So I got to play two extremes and show this character in two extremes. That was one of my favorite things for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And we also, we don't advocate actors getting frostbite for the scene. I just want to put that disclaimer out there for PVD horror.
Yes, kids, don't try that.
I don't advocate. Yeah, don't try that at home. Don't do it.
I mean, that sounds intense. And like,
yeah, it's like,
if you asked me my least favorite experience and I was you, I'd probably say that movie because that sounds horrible. But
no, honestly, but the crazy thing is because we're running around, so then you just get hot, and then it doesn't translate on screen because it's like you're doing 6-7 takes of this run. You're supposed to be cold, but you're running, and you're hot, and then you have a heat tent, and we were just like, okay, I can't like have my face steaming, looking like I'm hot, so. We were just trying. I mean, everyone did it that was a part of the film. We all found ways to just stay cold. I mean, I'm Canadian. I can handle it.
Yeah, I know. Like that's second nature to you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Aleks, let's get into Zero Contact a little bit more. So we already met with Chris Brochu, and like he kind of gave us a nice little overview of the movie and his role. So maybe you could just kind of share with our listeners like your character storyline a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I play Trevor in Zero Contact, and and Finley Hart, who's played by Anthony Hopkins, is someone that is a mentor of mine. Somebody that no one else. I'm a little bit of a smart ass in the film, so no one else really kind of tolerated my smart assness except for him, and he guided me. So I have this love for him and this mentorship kind of quality towards him, and then in the film, he passes away, quote unquote, and he asks me to be a part of this quantum initiative, which is basically a quantum leap time machine type thing, and each one of us get a code. And we all meet on a Zoom, and we're all supposed to enter this code, but no one really trusts each other or why we're here, and the film kind of starts moving towards its own kind of life after that of who do we trust and where does the trust lie, and is this all really true, and who's out there that wants to kind of not have the machine a part of the world or take it over.
Yeah. I didn't want to say this to Chris, but I probably enjoyed your character the most. I found you to be the most entertaining. Like it's fun. Your character is just fun. At first, I thought you were going to be like the prick of the group, but then you quickly became like the kind of the playful one of the group.
Right. Yeah.
The unfortunate thing for your character is your character storyline could be titled "The Night That Your Lady Decided to Leave You," because she is not happy at the end with anything that's happening.
She is thrown in the deep end of like, what the hell is going on?
From the beginning of just like you not being able to get to the party that you're supposed to be going to like what ends up coming later. Yeah, not a good time for her.
Exactly.
So something interesting, like I think we had an idea that, well, obviously like you guys, Zero Contact refers to the fact that the filming involves Zero Contact. You guys are all filming on your own. But like what we found amazing was you guys aren't even acting off of each other. You're setting up camera, you're reading your lines, and you're basically acting alone, completely alone, not even seeing the person that's the thing I found really fascinating is for your character in particular, a lot of your scenes involved you giving like responses to things being said, and you're doing a lot with like your face because it's like on a Zoom platform or something.
Right.
So like your face is what we all see the whole time, and you're just so in sync with everything. And like, I just had to ask you, how did you make that look so natural? And how difficult was it for you to kind of almost have to like imagine that other person's line is, how it's going to be delivered? And
yeah, no, I hear you. And this is a two-parter. So for basically, it was a trip, man, because we had like, if you if you picture what a Zoom call with 8 people looks like, that's what our production team was. So that our production team was all on Zoom. talking about what we're going to be going through, how we're going to be shooting it. And then they would all go on mute and take themselves away. And I would just hear one voice, which was the AD, Artie, and he would then try to act the lines with me. Okay. And so it wasn't, for me, it was more, and this is where the test, like all kudos go to Rick as a first-time director to guide us through the emotionality of which part of the scene. Hey, let's try this one a little bit bigger. Hey, try to be more jokey on this one. Like just that type of vibe. And again, a testament goes to Cam Cannon, who wrote the script and made it very clear and unbelievably that he wrote it in 10 days. Usually a 10-day script, I'm going to go, oh, I do not want to fucking read a 10-day script. Like this thing's going to be shit. And it ended up being so good. And I was just blown away. So now I'm sitting in here going, okay, we ready? And then I have them popping in going, hey, can you move the lamp over a little bit more to the right? I'm like, okay. Hey, to change your shirt. Okay, I'll put a button-up shirt on. And now it's time to, now I'm still trying to process lines and get the anticipation of the scene. And then it's like, okay, you ready? Rick calls action. I'm like, okay, I'll hit record. Do the scene, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing goes. And then you hear Rick say cut. I'm like, okay, great. I didn't even hit record. I didn't even fucking hit record. Like I would screw up the whole take. I was like, so I'm not supposed to be in charge of all this shit, man. And so they were so kind with letting it happen. Yeah. But for me, it was the guidance of Rick that really helped me get through a lot of this, and him allowing me to do what I wanted to do, but also guiding me through it because he knew the story that needed to be told. And he was the one seeing all the performances, so he could help guide us. So that was a testament to them. But it's, dude, the real heroes are the editor, VFX team, and the sound. Like those guys had to take all the takes that we did and match them the way they matched them. So it's not really like, I would love to take credit for my performance, but I was just going off of the vibe and the feel, and they would just take the best takes that would work in cohesiveness with everyone else. So again, I just allowed myself to go for it. And if it didn't work, then they can easily cut away or cut away to somebody else. But at least I went for it and tried to make the character as likable and as lovable as I could, along with sticking with the storyline and the seriousness that it gets to.
Yeah. I like I said, I thought that like your performance especially was just like, it was fun. You were kind of like the fun part of like the film that was kind of, it's an overall pretty serious movie.
Right.
But just like, just thinking about it after, I was like, wow, that is actually so impressive. And I know you give a lot of credit to, everybody else, and that's very modest of you. But it just in general, the whole feat of making this film is really impressive in general.
Yeah. Again, it's those guys, man. I'm just stoked I was asked. Like, it was during the pandemic. We're literally sitting there doing nothing. And listen, man, I never thought this movie was ever going to be made. I never thought it was going to be to where it was. We're shooting a movie during the pandemic. It's all going to be on Zoom. Your brain in the moment goes, this pandemic will be over in about a month. Everyone will forget about this, and we're going to go back to making real movies. And for us, and for me, it was just to stay busy during the pandemic. So for that idea, and for us, the way we started that with Rick, to come all the way here to where Anthony Hopkins is in it, we're promoting it. Lionsgate is releasing the film May 27th in select theaters and VOD. And I'm here talking to you guys about it. Like, I'm mind blown. And on top of that, we've now are shooting 2 and 3 parts of Zero Contact. What the fuck? Like, I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you excited about part 2 and 3?
Yeah, man. We flip it, because the first one was on Zoom, but now we get to go to like 12 countries and explore again. The movie is about time travel. So we get to hit all these places, and Chris and I had the fortunate, and the whole team, but I never really met Chris until we were shooting 2 when we first got to Antarctica. And that in itself is something that's insane, that we went to Antarctica where no Hollywood scripted film has ever been shot, which is mind blowing to me there too.
Yeah.
No Hollywood scripted film has ever been shot in Antarctica, from what I was told, and no one's yet to rebut it. But that, and we became tent mates, and became like, you know, we got to hang out and really enjoy each other's company, and it makes 2 and 3 really looking forward to shooting and finishing, where we get to act alongside each other.
Did you put snow in your shoes?
Not on this one, man. No need for that one.
We need some reshoots. We need some snow in the shoes. Come on.
They better not rewrite this thing where I'm supposed to be cold somewhere. I don't want that.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
If they do, it's your fault, you bunch of pricks. It's your fault.
Rick's somewhere like, oh, that's a really good idea.
No.
PBD stands for Providence. It's the airport code of Rhode Island, so we're not hard to find.
Yeah. I'll find it. I'll find you. I'll just look for the hairy 5'11" dude.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think it's great because like when we talked to Chris, you know, it was clear that you guys have been like able to connect, and, you know, thinking about like what you said, how you guys started by filming so remotely, but now it's kind of been able to turn into a friendship. I think that's amazing. And I'm sure that is going to be helpful in, you know, keeping a good chemistry on the future films, but also like what other endeavors you guys do in the future. Who knows where else you guys connect on films and stuff like that.
Well, it's great because I'm doing a show called Gen Zeros that I'm executive producing. It's like the world's first NFT sci-fi show that we just came out a couple days ago. And literally when we start shooting the back half, like I'm bringing Chris in because he's such a great actor. He's a smart actor. I'm more of an emotional actor, but he's a very smart actor, and his prep is next level. And he's just really great at what he does, and for me it's like a no-brainer that I want to work with him again for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. Funny because this film seems like it kind of created some relationships that are probably going to be helpful in the future, but for you it's like you're coming full circle a little bit, reconnecting with Anthony Hopkins, which is like, who does that? But like having like an experience when you know before, where you learned a lot from him, and where you are in your career now, to also be able to have a film where he's in it. And I think he's going to be in the second one. Chris told us that. I don't know if that was secret or not, but so you guys might be working in person together at some point.
Yeah, that's the plan. But I'll tell you my first experience with Anthony Hopkins. Fuck, man. So I'm doing this movie Black Way that Rick is producing, and so Hopkins is my number one. He's been my number one since, like, you know, well before Legends of the Fall. Like, he's just phenomenal. So getting cast opposite him in a scene, to me, I was just losing my mind. So I'm on set and I'm like, hey, keep your shit together. Don't fangirl. Just don't fucking fangirl. Like, just keep your shit together. So I hear an AD go, okay, Tony's entering. I'm like, and I'm like this, he's coming this way. And I turn my back a little bit and just go, keep your shit together. Just keep your shit together. So I overshot. So this is how it went. So the AD goes, Alex, so this is Tony, and Tony, this is Alex. And he goes, oh, nice to meet you, Alex. And I go, what's up? And I turn my and then like a half a second goes by, and I went, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to be cool, and I'm losing my shit right now, and I'm sorry, that was rude. And we just kind of hit it off after that. And then we started talking boxing, because he was like, you're a big guy. What kind of sports do you play? I go, you know, I box quite a bit. And he's a huge boxing fan. And he was testing me on like the old school boxers, Harry Armstrong and all these old school, Sugar Ray Robinson. And I knew a lot about it because I'm such a historian on it. And now I'm having, and this is us just sitting in the chairs minutes later. Yeah. And I'm having this amazing conversation with Anthony Hopkins, and I feel presence around me going, we got to shoot this scene. I don't want to interrupt Anthony while he's talking. And in my brain, I'm going, don't you say a fucking word. Let me finish this conversation with this.
Yeah.
And then finally they got us going, okay, let's go. And then Anthony just kind of went, are you okay with us, you know, improvising during this scene? I'm like, absolutely, like, for sure. So we do this improv, And we do the scene, and he runs out with the gun, and then the director yells, director yells cut, and he comes back in, and he's like, Aleks, that was great. That makes me bring my gun up quicker when you say that line. I go, but you have to say the other line for me to say this. He goes, okay, I'll say that line. And all of a sudden I realized this is exactly what it's like in acting class when you're studying and you're working and you're like, to me, you have this separation of somebody like Anthony Hopkins, when at the end of the day, it's literally just connecting with the person that you're with and doing the best that you can and being as open as you can to get the best product across. And we were doing exactly what we were doing in acting class. And I just happened to be doing with the greatest actor in the world. That's what was crazy.
That's amazing. That is an amazing experience.
What a dick though, right? It's like, what's up?
Yeah. Hey, at least, I like that you just owned it. And that probably made it even like better for him. He broke the ice. You just owned it. Like, I'm just trying to be cool. Like, that's not.
Yeah. I was so fangirling. I didn't want to fangirl, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. Aleks, do me a favor. Tell people where they can find you if you're on social media or anything like that, where they can find your band. And then just remind us all when we're going to be able to check out Zero Contact. Yeah.
You want to hit me up on social media. It's Aleks Paun. ALEKSPAUN, and Twitter and Instagram and a Facebook fan page, Aleks Paunovic Fans. You can check out Zero Contact May 27th on VOD and select theaters. What was the other question?
Wait, how about your band?
Yes, my band, Specula Black, on all streaming sites. You can find there's a 6-song EP and way more music coming out. Specula Black on all music platforms.
Awesome. Aleks, this was such an enjoyable interview. Thank you so much for joining us. Spend some time.
Dude, thanks for having me. This was the best part of my day.
Awesome.
This is awesome.
That is great.
And you know what? Thank you. We know you've been doing a lot promotional stuff, so it's really cool that you took the time to talk to us. And thanks, man.
They run you ragged. You know this.
Dude, this has been so much fun, so refreshing. Thanks so much, man.
Awesome.
And I do want to
apologize. Thank you guys.
My road. What was that? I want to apologize. We have a bike group on our an MC on our road. So through the whole interview, every time I record, that's when they all come out. So, and I also have a neighbor. We have a big parking lot across the street, and the neighbor, we think he has dementia. Really nice guy, but he mows the parking lot. So you probably hear that too.
That's all
right, man. It just sounds like my band. That's all.
That's awesome.
Everybody, thanks for listening. Have a great night. We hope you enjoy, and check out Zero Contact when that comes out.